If you feel behind in your career, you might be using the wrong clock. A lot of people carry this quiet feeling that they're late, not failing, not stuck, just behind. And what's interesting is that this feeling often shows up even when on paper things are going well. You're learning, you're working, you're progressing, but something still feels off. And in my experience, that feeling rarely comes from what people are actually doing. It comes from what they're measuring themselves against. Most of us have inherited a career timeline without ever questioning it. It's a timeline built around stable roles, predictable progression, and long stretches where very little changes. You study, you enter a profession, you move steadily upward. That model made sense in a world where work itself was relatively stable, but that's not the environment we're in anymore. Work changes shape faster now. Roles evolve, skills expire more quickly, and entire functions are being redesigned. And as a result, many people will need to reskill, shift direction, or reconfigure their work over time, not because they failed, but because the nature of work itself is changing. The problem is that the timeline most of us are still using hasn't caught up. So when you use an old clock to measure a modern career, something predictable happens. You don't get clarity, you get anxiety, because the clock can't capture what's actually going on. Especially in non-linear paths, progress doesn't always look like speed. It often looks quieter than that. It can look like developing stronger judgment, building range across domains, becoming more comfortable navigating uncertainty, and those changes matter, but they don't show up neatly on a timeline. And because they are hard to quantify, people start to assume they don't count. This is usually the moment where people start to doubt themselves. They think, maybe I should be further. Maybe I made the wrong choices. Maybe I lost time. But often what's really happening is simpler and more structural. The measurement model no longer fits the reality. If you're building capability in a world that values adaptability, synthesis, and pattern recognition, a timeline built for predictability will always make you feel late. That doesn't mean you are, it means the clock is outdated. So if you feel behind, consider this carefully. It might not be your pace, it might be the model you're using to judge yourself. So it's no longer about doctor, lawyers, or being an engineer. If you know, you know. And this is where things start to shift. Because once you realize the clock is wrong, you stop rushing to catch up to a path that may no longer exist. Instead, you start asking better questions. What am I actually learning? What kinds of problems am I becoming better at solving? And what patterns can I now see that I couldn't before? Those questions don't give instant reassurance, but they give something better: orientation. And in a tech-accelerated world, orientation matters far more than speed.